Hello and good morning. How's everybody doing today? Thank you for joining us for this sort of short notice webinar. Let me tell you what's going on here. We've had a lot of people who have been interested in seeing our identity webinar. It really is our foundational webinar that everything else that we talk about on other webinars springs from. So we decided to do this webinar for a couple of reasons. Number one, to give some of you who wanted to participate a chance. Also, we wanted to get a chance to record a new webinar so we can get some of the more recent examples and so forth into this webinar so that we can put it on our website. So that's what we're doing here today. So I do appreciate you joining us and participating. We're going to be probably in the neighborhood of about 75 minutes today. Excuse me, something like that. So here's what I encourage you to do. I encourage you to take notes, get your pen out, get a piece of paper out, and dedicate yourself to active participation if you can. You get going on the email and the YouTube videos and all those kinds of things, and attention starts to wane. So I'm going to go pretty fast today. I'm going to give you a lot of examples, and I think you're going to find this topic to be extremely helpful for you and your business. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. The webinar is called Standing for Something, Forging Your Company's Unique Identity. And this is going to tackle the biggest problem that we find, not just in any marketing, but let's talk specifically about contractor marketing and remodeling marketing, okay? Okay, so stick around. We're going to give away a book at the end of this webinar. Must be present to win kind of a thing. So this is Monopolize Your Marketplace. It's a book I wrote a few years ago, and we will send one of these out to somebody who stays on the webinar. So we'll talk about that at the end of the webinar. The rules have changed. Let's talk about the challenges that we're facing in marketing. People's decision-making processes have fundamentally changed since the recession. Some of you might say, well, the recession is not over, or times are still tough. Statistically speaking, the recession's been over for a while. It's been over for a few years. But the after effects of it have definitely stuck around. And I'll tell you in a minute some of the details of what I think this is happening. But the reality is people's attitudes have changed about their money. You can't just stuff an ad in the paper, tell people that you exist. You can't just be good in a sales meeting. Doesn't mean you shouldn't be good in a sales meeting. Obviously, you should be good in a sales meeting. But it's not enough to just be good in a sales meeting. So all that sales training that you're doing, keep doing it. But you know what? If you're just good at sales, there's a lot of opportunities you're going to miss. You're never even going to see the person and have a chance to close them because you're going to miss the appointment in the first place. So we've got to fix that with marketing. Just getting more leads into your system is not the answer to marketing problems. It can help, obviously. We want more leads, but it really isn't the problem. It's things have shifted, okay? You've got to take a broader look at your business. Let's take a look at this cartoon. People's decision-making process have fundamentally changed. So I look at it like this. People's attitude towards their money is a lot more conservative than it used to be. So for instance, I've got a 16-year-old daughter, and I'm very, very concerned about, what happens when she goes on dates. She had her first date when she first turned 16. Because in my house, you don't date until you're 16. So when she turned 16, she had a date with a guy named Grant. I know this kid from church. He's a nice kid. I trust him. He's, a good kid, all those kinds of things. But I sent him a video anyway. I happened to be out of town on the night of the first date, so I sent him a video. I was at my friend Mark's house. He's got lots of guns, and I took his biggest, nastiest, scariest-looking tactical weapon, and I made a video of me holding it, and I said, Grant, I just want you to know that I'm thrilled that you're going out with my daughter, and I want you to also know that if I have to spend the rest of my life in prison, I will do so with a smile on my face if that's what it takes for me to defend the honor of my daughter. Are we clear? And that's kind of how I feel about my daughter. I'm very protective. And you know what? I think people are feeling that way about their money as it relates to this recession. People have money. It's not like people's money has gone away. In fact, with the stock market rebounding, people have done very well, and their money has come back. But they've got a little bit of a conservative streak in them. And now it's not easy to get the home equity loans like it used to be. And this is something that people are just going to vet out who they're going to do business with quite a bit more. So marketing is something that's going to help with that. And then here's the other thing. Here's why marketing isn't working like it used to. And I like to call this the Kevin Bacon syndrome. Kevin Bacon is killing your marketing. And the reason, interestingly enough, is, well, let's just take a look. If you go back 10 years ago, here's what you had. Now, it's 2013, so I'm going back to 2003. In 2003, we all had this desktop sitting on our desk, and we would had internet connection, and depending, maybe at work you had a good internet connection, at home you probably had something a little bit slower, but you had internet, and that was good. But it wasn't super easy to take the internet with you and to be able to, actually look at stuff without a little bit of effort. Then the laptop came along, and it made it easier to take the internet with us. Then Steve Jobs introduced the iPad and the iPad mini. Of course, the iPhone actually came before the iPad in 2007, and the internet is now in our pocket. Well, why am I telling you this, and what does it have to do with Kevin Bacon? Well, here's what happens, okay? In 2003, if you were watching TV and you wanted to know some trivial fact, like, for instance, this was, I think, around the Super Bowl a couple months ago. I was watching TV, and a commercial came on with Kevin Bacon in a new TV series called The Following. And I saw the commercial, and I looked at my wife, and I said, golly, look at Kevin Bacon. That dude's looking hammered. How old is he now? Now, 10 years ago, if you saw Kevin Bacon and you thought he looked hammered and you wondered how old he was, would you go over to your desktop computer, log in, that little dial screechy thing and all that kind of stuff, and check it out? And would it be easy to find it? Wikipedia was not as nearly as prominent as it is now. Now what we do is we do this. I've got my iPhone in my hand right now, and we simply push the button and hold it down for a second. What is Kevin Bacon's birthday?
Let me check that. Here's what I found.
Here's what Siri found for me. Kevin Bacon, date of birth, Tuesday, July 8th, 1958. He's 54 years, 8 months, 5 days old. He's been alive for 19,972 days. His 20,000 day is coming up. He was born in 1958 on the 189th day, the 28th week, and sunrise was at 6:27 a.m. on the day he was born. Now, here's why I'm telling you this, and this is critical. And you think, well, it's kind of funny and goofy, whatever. No, it's critical, and it's absolutely imperative that you understand this. Access to information, having the internet in people's hands, iPads, iPhones, Androids, whatever, laptops, has fundamentally shifted the way that marketing works. And I'm going to tell you exactly why right now. In 2003, if somebody had an inkling of an idea, if they were entertaining the thought that maybe I'm going to replace my windows or maybe my roof needs to be fixed, they would typically not take any immediate action on that because going to the internet was not necessarily immediately available. How many times have you ever thought to look or Google something, and if you didn't do it immediately, you just forgot? Well, now you do it, you look on your phone, you get an idea, and here's what happens. I call it the itch gets scratched. I have an itch. Man, I think maybe I need to get a new roof. You scratch it, you look on the internet, maybe you take action and call somebody, maybe you take action and set an appointment, maybe you take action and do something, maybe you take action and actually don't set an appointment or take that next definitive action, but you at least feel like you've looked into it. So here's what happens now. Your ad runs in the paper, on the radio, on the television, whatever the case is, the next week. The person hears it because they're sensitive to the topic, because it's something they've been thinking about, so they're more likely to hear your ad. But because they have now already done something, taken some action, scratched that itch, how old is Kevin Bacon? They don't respond to your ad because in their mind they don't need to because they've already taken that next action. And so you continue to put your ad in the paper, you continue to put your ad on the radio and the television, and you say it's not working. Then you come to people like me who are quote-unquote marketing experts, which I am, and you say, my ad in the paper isn't working. Number one, either tell me where I should put my ad instead of in the paper, or tell me how to write my ad better so that it gets more responses. And I look at you and I say, you're asking the wrong questions. The question isn't, how do I make my ad work better? I mean, that's always an ever-present, interesting, good question, but it's the wrong question for the situation. The right question for the situation is, what do I need to do to make my marketing work better? By way of fine distinction, the question is not, how do I make this ad work better? Although that is a good question. I'm acknowledging that. If you're looking at making the ad work better by changing the content of the ad somehow, you may be missing the most important point of all, which is, I can't do marketing the way I used to. I can't approach it the way that I used to in the past. Here's what marketing is supposed to do. It's going to capture the attention of the target market, give them hope that reading or listening to that ad or that marketing piece or that website or whatever the case is going to give them enough information. Here's the key: to facilitate their making the best decision possible when buying whatever it is you sell. Facilitating making the best decision. Make a note here. If you're not making a note, make a note. Facilitate their making the best buying decision. I'm going to talk in a minute about something called the curse of knowledge, which means simply that people don't know that much about the product you're selling. I'll get to that in just a second. And then we need to give them a specific, low-risk, easy-to-take action, an offer to further their ability to make a good decision. Here's the bottom line. You've got to have a marketing campaign that makes people feel like they'd be an absolute fool to do business with anyone else but you, regardless of price. And usually that doesn't happen. Now, here's what I want to focus and concentrate on. This slide right here. Pay very close attention. This is the 4 things that are going to make 80% of the difference. The first one is, and it must be handled in this order, forging a unique, memorable, and powerful identity. Okay? I'm going to talk about that in this webinar. That is the topic of today's webinar, is identity. The second thing is winning the battle of the now buyers. This means winning on the Internet. Internet is no longer something that would be nice to have some cheap leads coming in. It's not something that you would wish that maybe you could figure out how to make it work. It is 100% imperative that you crack this code, because if you don't, you are, capital S, screwed. You understand me? You say, well, oh, well, you know, we don't do the whole lot on the Internet and we make lots of money. You know what? Every day that you continue to have that attitude is one more day that you are going to suffer, because here's why. Kevin Bacon, right? People are going to the Internet, and if you don't know how to participate in getting people to find you and then converting them, you are in big trouble. Now, you can't convert people that do find you until you've got an identity. And we're going to talk about that in a lot of detail here today, so that'll make more sense to you. But you've got to win the battle of the now buyers, having a better website than you probably have now. And then, of course, there are topics like search engine optimization and pay-per-click advertising and other online lead-generating activities. Those are not the topic of today's webinar. It's just we don't have enough time. We'll get to that in a different webinar. Preconditioning or pre-positioning prospects to eliminate sales resistance is number 3. We do this with website, yes, but also materials that we email and send out via regular mail to prospects before we show up to precondition them to want to do business with us. Again, not the topic of today's webinar. There's too many topics to cover in a 75-minute period of time. But this is the list of the 4 things that make 80% of the difference in your marketing, okay? Once you get those three things in place, then and only then should you be able to look at this, investing your profits in relationship building advertising. Now, guess where most people want to start when they come to me and say, hey, my marketing's not working. They say, help me make my ads work better. And I look at them and I say, until you have an identity, until you crack the code on the Internet, and until you master pre-positioning, you have no business trying to generate a lead, because number 1, you won't generate that many, and number 2, the ones that you do get won't convert well because you don't have your foundation in place. I mean, they sing the song in church all the time. The wise man built his house upon the, rock, not the sand. That's what the foolish man does. And if you're trying to build I'm not saying your company stinks if you don't do these things. I'm saying that your marketing probably stinks, and your good company, this nice, beautiful house that you've built, if the foundation is sandy instead of rock, it will not persist, and eventually you will suffer. And even if suffering only means you don't do as well as you could, who wants to mess with that, okay? So here's what we find. We're going to shift gears and talk a little bit about platitudes and identity. Most marketing is absolutely full of platitudes, words or phrases that are drearily commonplace and predictable, that lacks power to evoke interest through overuse and repetition, that is nevertheless stated as though it were original or significant. Platitudes, okay? Best service, highest quality, largest selection. My favorite, we've been in business since 1431 BC. Well, you know what? That's fine, but we've got to get more compelling than this. These are platitudes, and if left in the platitudinous state, they're not going to do much for you. Think of a platitude like a seed. Obviously, having the best service or highest quality or largest selection, all these different things that are on this list, and many more that we could put on there, best warranty, so forth. These are like seeds, but we've got to nurture them and grow them into something that looks a little bit more substantial, that people can wrap their brains and arms around and say, okay, this is what I can expect, okay? Let's talk about the curse of knowledge. This is a big issue. The curse of knowledge simply says the more you know, the worse off you are. Now, by way of example, let me ask you this. I've got a really nice attendance going here. Thanks for participating. I really appreciate that. Here's what I want you to ask yourself. I'm going to ask this question, okay? Here it is. Out of all of you on this webinar, how many of you have purchased in your lifetime 10 or more pianos? And the answer probably is none of you. In fact, I've done this question in rooms with hundreds of people as I do seminars and so forth, and I've still not had anyone that has bought 10 pianos. How many have bought 5 pianos? How about 3 or even 2? And I have found that about 1 out of about 50 people has bought more two pianos, not more than 2 pianos. How many people have bought 1 piano in your life? And typically the answer is about 15 or 20%. How many people have never bought a single piano in your entire life? And the answer is generally about 80–85%. And here's the reason why, because people just don't buy that many pianos. Now, why am I asking you about pianos and who cares? And the answer is, here's why. Because the ratio of number of people that have bought pianos is fairly close to the ratio of the number of people who have bought whatever it is that you sell. Okay, so let's say that your daughter has been playing the piano. She's 8 or 9 years old, but she's been working on a keyboard that you bought down at Best Buy for $149. And it's pretty good, but she really wants to get a little more serious, and so you decide you're going to buy a piano. Here's the problem. You don't know jack squat about piano, and you walk into the piano store. It's very likely that a $3,000 piano is going to be sitting right next to an $8,000 piano. And from your perspective, as a layperson that doesn't really know anything, they're going to look exactly the same. And this is the problem that people have when they're trying to buy windows and doors and siding and roofing and kitchen remodeling and bathroom remodeling. All these other things that you're selling is that they've got very little prior exposure. We've all been around pianos. We know what they look like, but nobody's ever really bought one of these things. And if they have, it's been a while, and they don't know who to buy from. They don't know what to look for. And meanwhile, you know everything about remodeling, and you know everything about windows and siding and doors and roofing and all that stuff because it's your livelihood. So here's what happens. You tend to communicate things in terms that people really don't have the same page. When you say window and they say window, those two things don't mean the same thing. Let me give you an example. A few years ago, I've got 6 kids. One of my kids has moved off to college, and now I keep saying I have 5 kids, but I still have 6. He's not around, so it's really weird. But anyway, I've got 6 kids, and this is going back about 7 years. One of my kids at the time was 5 years old, and my mom, the kid's grandma, my mom, decided to take 3 or 4 of my kids out to the park to play, right? Just get them out of the house, get them away from the parents for a little while. It's a nice thing for a grandma to do. So she took them to the park, and one of the kids, 5 years old, comes up to Grandma and says, Grandma, I've got to go to the bathroom really, really bad. Grandma looks around, sees that there's no facilities, there's no porta potties, anything like that at this particular park, and she looks at the kid and says, you know what, you're going to have to wait. And he says, Grandma, I've got to go really bad. I can't wait. So she looks around again, and she sees some trees and a little bush over in the distance. She says, look, go over behind those trees over there and go to the bathroom there. And he looks kind of confused and says, all right, well, if that's what Grandma says. He goes over behind the tree. She's not paying that close attention. She's watching the other kids. A second later, the little 5-year-old comes out. He's got his pants around his ankles, and he goes, hey, Grandma, there's no toilet paper behind this tree. Now think about this funny, silly scenario. Here's what we've got. We've got a grandma with all the experience in the world and a 5-year-old kid that doesn't know jack from nothing. And their definition of go to bathroom behind the tree is 2 totally different definitions. See, in the scenario of you selling things to your customers, you're a lot more like the grandma who's got experience, who knows things, and when you say go to the bathroom behind a tree, it means a certain thing, and your customers are a lot more like the 5-year-old kid who interprets it completely different, doesn't really have any context to hang that information on, and makes maybe not such a great decision, okay? So here's the problem. When you go to write your marketing, well, let's back up. If you go into a sales environment and you sit down with your prospect and you say, hey, I'm going to tell you about Windows, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to do an excellent job because you know how to sell, you know how to read body language, you know how to ask questions, you know how to elicit information from the prospect, and you can sort of tailor your presentation to that person. The problem becomes in marketing when you have to talk to not just one person who you can talk to and elicit their objections and so forth, but you've got to talk to the entire market. The question is, how do you do that, and how do you say things that are going to make an impact on this group of people? And the problem is that you typically start to use platitudes because you don't know any better. You don't really know how to communicate it. When you're so familiar with the inner workings of something like your business, it's really hard to understand what it's like to not possess that knowledge. You tend to communicate in terms that are not easily understood, and I call it a word print, okay? A word print. When you say piano, your word print of piano is significantly different than the piano salesman's word print of the word piano, okay? Going to the bathroom, starving. You know, if my kid says he's starving, it means a whole different thing than maybe somebody in a third world country that truly is starving, okay? So we've got to understand that we use platitudes because of the curse of knowledge. The antidote is what's on your screen right now. It's called identity. Words, phrases, and images articulated with power, precision, and passion that instantly and definitively communicate who you are, what you're all about, and what customers can expect when doing with you. Now, let's not just gloss past this. Let's look at it in a little bit more detail, okay? Words, phrases, and images articulated with, here's the trifecta of P's, power, precision, and passion. I'll talk about those as we go through this, that instantly and definitively communicate who you are, what you're all about, and what customers can expect when doing business with you. Now, I want you to evaluate your current marketing materials, whether it be your website, start there, or your advertisements, go there next. Maybe it's your direct mail pieces, whatever the case is. Here's what I want you to evaluate. Do the things that you say instantly and definitively communicate who you are, what you're all about, and what customers can expect when doing business with you? And I would like to propose to you the following answer. No, they don't. That answer is based on thousands upon thousands of times evaluating companies all across different industries, and particularly for the last several years, we spent a bazillion hours, worked with a bazillion companies in home improvement. And here's what I'm going to tell you. None of them get it right. 0%. Z freaking row %. And that includes you. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm trying to help you. That's what the whole point of this is, okay? So 7 major leverage points. These are the points of contact: websites, lead generators, inbound phone calls, pre-positioning, confirmation calls, in-home sales appointment, follow-up hopper systems. We're not going to go through this list in detail, but I want you to know these are the points of contact where you've got to have your identity shining through, okay? Now, by way of example, let's take a look. This is not a live web page. I made screenshots of this because I use this in seminars. I guess I could do it live on the webinar, but here's the thing. I did a search for Columbus, Ohio basement finishing on Google, and I'm showing you this Google search because I'm going to show you several web pages, and I want you to see that the web pages that I'm showing you are the actual ones that actually came up in the actual web search. In other words, I did not go out of my way to find particularly crummy websites to make a point that, you know, maybe really isn't as pronounced as I'm trying to make it out to be. I want you to know that this is every bit as pronounced as I'm making it out to be. So here's what I found. The first one was this: Suncraft Home Remodeling, basement finishing. And if we look at this website, I think most of us would agree that this is a decent-looking website. Nobody's going to look at this website and say, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe how unprofessional this thing looks." But here's what I'm going to train you to do right now. I'm going to train you to look at it from the perspective of the prospect. Not from the perspective of, hey, we do basement finishing, look, there's a pool table, isn't that cool? No, that's not what you need to look at. What you need to look at is if you're a prospect and you find this website through, let me go back, I did a search. Why? Because I'm looking for basement finishing, and here's what I find. Let's read what it says and see if it facilitates the decision-making process, if it instantly and definitively communicates who I am, what I'm all about, and what customers can expect when doing business with me, and it does it in a powerful, precise, and passionate way. Basement finishing. Suncraft specializes in basement finishing in the Columbus, Ohio area. We can make the basement of your dreams become a reality. Get give new identity to previously unused space. Finishing your basement is the most cost-effective way to add more living space and provide greater enjoyment in your home. Let me explain to you what just happened there. The short answer is absolutely nothing just happened right there. They didn't tell me anything I didn't know. They gave me no information. It was just a regurgitation of crap that I already know. Would I possibly be looking for information on basement finishing if I didn't already know that it was a cost-effective way to add living space to my house? Add a den or a living room, add a child's playroom or a home theater. Yeah, no crap, Sherlock. That's what you do when you finish your basement. I don't need you. I'm not saying that that information isn't worthwhile to put somewhere on this website and to show people ideas of what they could expect in what my capabilities are for doing those different types of jobs. But here's what I am saying. If you lead with that, here's what people want to know. They want to know, why should I hire you? And you've given them no reason. Oh, next, our goal is to make your finished basement look like the rest of your house. We match your existing finishes. Okay, let's go to the next one. The basement finishing experts. We built a dungeon and a bar. That's all I can tell. This is terrible, okay? Let's just be very clear. Terrible. Next. This one's terribler, if that's even possible. Custom Designed Basements of Ohio, Inc. I can't even read it because it's so... This is a company that's getting slaughtered on the internet. Well, we've done 800 basements. Yeah, and you probably did them over the last 30 years when people didn't have to look at your stupid website. This is not acceptable. This is a company that is losing on the internet big time, okay? Next, the finished basement. Thank you for visiting the finished basement. There's one in Cincinnati, Columbus, and Northern Kentucky. What's going on with this cramming these words in there? This is what's called keyword stuffing. They want Google to be very, very highly aware, Google, not people, Google. They want Google to know that they service Cincinnati, Columbus, and Northern Kentucky. So they cram these words in there, but here's what the problem with cramming those words in there is. At the top of the page, humans read them and they go, why are you putting all these geographic words in here? I'm just looking for a basement. We are committed to providing our customers unparalleled value. Every month, customers save thousands of dollars. If you're looking for a basement that is uniquely yours, we can customize a basement designed to meet your individual needs. This is called freaking bullcrap, okay? I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just letting you know, if this is you, you're in for trouble, okay? This is not good. And here's the punchline. This probably is you. Not this literal website, but again, I've not seen one that fixes these things. You know, I'll throw a couple more on the screen. I don't even want to make a comment about that piece of junk right there. Okay, here's one that looks pretty good. This is actually one of our customers. We did not do this website. We actually did do this website, but we redid this website. They paid a lot of money to have a very respected company in the industry, in the remodeling industry, do this website. Problem is, this company knows how to make a website look good, but they don't know how to make it say good. They don't know how to make it talk good. This is like a good-looking person that is stupid, and you just want to punch them and say, why are you so stupid? And you just, I don't know, that's probably not a very nice thing for me to say just a minute ago. You probably don't want to punch people. I don't really want to punch people. It's a figure of speech. But here you get the idea. It looks good, but it says nothing. Look at this. Bathroom remodels, attic insulation, basement finishing in Columbus, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and throughout Central Ohio. 100 BOS homes and Owens Corning basement finishing. It's just mind-numbing crap. Well, Google found us. Yeah, but if Google finds you and humans look at this and go, okay, what did that benefit you? And the answer is nothing. Your bounce rate goes through the sky. You get upset. You say, well, I guess this internet marketing stuff doesn't work. And the reality is it's your fault, okay? Now, I'm going to show you a redo of this one a little bit later in the webinar, so stay tuned for that. And I'm going to show you about 10 other before and after examples, okay? It's not just confined to websites, though. Here's an ad, Toledo Basements. Financing available, 25 colors. So, I mean, they've got some decent information here, but is this communicating with power, passion, and precision? Answer, no. Is this something that you look at and say, man, I got to do business with these guys? Answer, no. Okay, basement to beautiful. Yes. Create a basement design for your lifestyle, You know, anytime they say that, it sounds a little bit odd to me. It's just me. Let's play a game. It's called What's Your Identity? All right, it's like a game show. It's not really a game show, but it's like a game show. What's your identity? So what you're going to do is you're going to look at something that I put on the screen, like this website, and you're going to try to guess what's the identity of this company. In other words, what can you expect? What are they all about? What do they do? What can you expect when doing business with them? Why would you want to do business with this company? Ready? Go. Dun, dun, dun. MGS Roofing Systems, Roofing Contractors. When you need professional roofing service, turn to the Dallas Company Residents Trust. Here's what I take out of this. We install roofs on houses with nails. That's about the best I can take out of this. All right. How about this? We are at the home show. Does your home show need to have identity in it? You bet. It better. If it doesn't, you're under leveraged. Okay. Here's about all we can tell from this. We sell bathtubs that fit. Maybe. Maybe not. Aslan. Picture yourself in a brand new bath. Let the experts at Aslan design and help make your bathroom picture perfect. Our designers have the in-depth knowledge to make your bath a reality. From spa-like retreats to kid-friendly baths, Aslan Bath Design and Aslan Stoneworks can guarantee you a perfect bath. We sell baths, and our name is Aslan. That's about all I can tell you about this company. All right. If you need 3 toilets, we can do that. It's kind of silly. Let's keep going. Here's the definition of identity. Words, phrases, images articulated with power, precision, passion that instantly, definitively communicate who you are, what you're all about, what customers can expect when doing business with you. It becomes the hub of your business stuff. Identity is in the middle, and then we inject it into your website, your ads, your pre-positioning, home shows, sales presentations, phone scripts, mailers, okay? You get the idea how this works? Identity first, everything else after that. So how do you create a powerful identity? Step number 1, identify what makes your company tick. What do you already do that customers like? What do you take a lot of pride in? What makes you better and different than your competitors? What are you really, really good at? What do you want written on your tombstone? By definition, you only have a little bit of room on the tombstone. If you had to boil it down to something very concise, what would it be? What are you unwilling to fudge on? Here's what I want you to do. Think about this. Now, it's a webinar. We don't have a whole lot of time. Seminars, we pause down here for a few minutes, and I have you actually write this down. But here's what I want to know. What makes your company tick? This is where it all starts. Now, maybe you're just going to throw some seeds on the table. You're going to say, well, oh man, earlier he said don't put quality, so I can't put quality. No, put quality. But what about your quality? Is it just quality? Is it attention to detail? Put it down there. The next thing we're going to do, step 2, is build a case. Imagine you were being put on trial and you had to prove that you were blank. Now, in that blank, here's what you put. You put whatever you decided on the previous slide, right? So if you think that you are high quality, great. Imagine you're being put on trial and you had to prove that you're high quality. What evidence could you produce to prove it? What stories could you tell to back it up? Could you provide witnesses? Be as specific as possible. Don't use platitudes, okay? And then step 3, communicating with power, precision, and passion. So if we create a case and we've got to prove it, we don't just necessarily only need to create the case, we also have to be able to present the case. Think about some of the law dramas you've seen in either movies or televisions, or maybe you read, who's that author that writes the law books? Did you Grisham or something like that? Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Think about some of those law dramas. So to win in court, you have to have a great case with all the information, all the evidence, all the witnesses, and all that stuff. But you also have to have an attorney that presents it with power, passion, and precision. Hey, guess what? Those are our same 3 words. Power, precision, passion, okay? Here's what I found. When you speak with power, people believe you're powerful. When you speak with power, people are drawn to you. They don't question your competency or your character. When you speak with power, you stand out from the crowd. Now, I'm going to show you several examples of speaking with power. You're going to have to stick with me to see these. So hopefully everybody, should we have a rest hymn like they do in church where we sing a song so everybody kind of wakes up for the second half of the webinar here? Okay, we're not going to do that, but I need you to pay attention because we're going to get into the heavy-duty examples here in just a second. I want you to pay really, really close attention, because if you can't distinguish the difference between your website now and your website with a strong identity, then you're missing the point here. So I think you'll be able to do that if you just pay a little attention for the next several minutes here. So as we get into power, precision, and passion, this is something that I actually have done an entire webinar on for my MYM Insider members. My MYM Insider members, it's a membership program that we have where we do several webinars per month on different topics. And this is one slide right now, so I'm going to go through it very quickly, but trust me, we could spend an hour on this one slide. Power, principles of power talk. Number one is being specific. Remember, power, precision, specific. Okay, be specific in the words you use. I'll show you several examples of this as we go through this a little bit later. Use absolutes, always, never, exactly, insist. A lot of people will tell you don't use absolutes in your marketing because it makes you legally liable. You can't say something is absolutely a certain way, or else people might expect it always to be that way. Well, here's what I found: if you always do something some particular way, then say it. Let me give you two different ways to say something. Okay. This is just a fun little teeny tiny example. Don't put too much stock in it, but just take it as a teeny tiny example. Here we go. Here's one way to say something. Way number one, we do the job right the first time. Okay? That's a perfectly legitimate way to say something. We do the job right the first time. Here's another way to say the same thing. We always insist on doing every job exactly right the first time, period. We always insist on doing every job exactly right the first time. Period. Now, which one sounds like it has a little bit more confidence? Which one has more precision? Which one has more power? Which one has more passion? We do the job right the first time, or we always insist on doing every job exactly right the first time. See, this is called using words to inject power and precision and passion into saying something that you would normally say without those things and saying it more powerfully. Again, imagine the attorney in the law drama, the movie or the TV show, where he gets up and he says, we do things right the first time, versus he gets up and he pounds his fist and says, we always insist on doing everything exactly right the first time, period. And you go, wow, he must be serious. That's right. People don't talk like that, generally speaking, unless they're serious. Tell stories if it's appropriate. Okay, I won't go into detail on that, but it becomes very critical to help people understand the points you're trying to make. Have a strong opinion. Tell it like it is. Don't mince words. Sometimes people accuse us of being negative. Hey, you're ripping down the competition. We never rip down the competition by name, but we do tell people what to look for, what to watch out for, and how we're different and how we're better, because that's the only way they can appreciate what we do, is if they understand that other people don't do it as well. Tell it like it is. Use plain English. You don't want to use that big, the $25 words that you learned in college English class. Don't use those. It's not how people talk. You need to write like people talk, okay? Elevate your attitude. You can probably hear my attitude's a little elevated on this call. That's kind of what we're looking for. Become the customer's advocate. Give genuine advice. This is what I call walking around to the other side of the table, putting your hand on their shoulder and saying, you know what, I'm here to help you make the best decision. In fact, we use scripting for appointment setting scripts and appointment confirmation scripts. And an important part of that scripting is whether or not you end up doing business with us or not. Hey, we'd be thrilled and honored if you do business with us. But if you don't, we just want to make sure you make the right decision. And people hear that and they go, wow, that's awesome. Become the consumer's advocate. Confidence is not cocky, it's matter of fact. Find and use power words, what I call juicy words. I'll show you several examples of that as we get into the examples, okay? Let's go through a case study, and then I'll show you several examples. The case study is going to be a little bit more in-depth, and then the examples will be sort of rapid fire, okay? So here's the situation. A remodeler. This guy's been in business for 25 years. He's highly competent. His customers love him. This is what I consider to be the typical high-end, high-touch kitchen and bath remodeler who has customers that absolutely love him and rave about him after the job. And you know what? There's a lot of guys like this. Now, there's a lot of guys not like this, but there's a lot of guys like this. And the problem that he was having is that he was competing against all the other guys like him, and they all kind of look the same, and then when it all kind of looks the same, guess what it kind of comes down to? Yeah, price. So this guy has a fanatical need to get things done right. He's basically OCD. He sweats every single little detail. He refuses to allow anything that's not to his exacting standards to happen. Here's his premise. I'm a remodeler with exacting standards who will do everything right. Okay? That make sense? Well, here's his website. Now, this is his before. This is like the big fat guy in the before and after photos. This is before, okay? Now, here's what I want you to understand. This guy does great work. Let's look at his website in a little bit more detail. It says here, welcome to Revive, blah, blah, blah. We're a Revive LLC, information on your next improvement project. We're a full-service remodeling general contracting company servicing clients through the greater Portland metro area, from small projects like painting a room, handyman services, to larger-scale renovations such as bathroom and kitchen remodeling or preparing your house for retirement. Our team, blah, blah, blah. We strive to make your remodeling experience not just satisfactory, but to exceed your expectations from start to finish. We communicate to ensure, and this is just a bunch of bull junk, okay? This is dumb. Now, the problem is, and the reason that this is like this is because people just don't know how to write it any better. Now, let's be real clear on this. I could not remodel a kitchen to save my God-given life, and I'm not exaggerating. If somebody had a gun to my head and said, look, you remodel this kitchen or I'm going to kill you, I'd say, just shoot me now because I don't know how to do it. I barely own tools. My mother-in-law gave them to me for like Christmas 20 years ago when I first got married. I don't know how to use them. I don't like them. And I'm telling you this because I want you to know that it's okay that you don't know how to do this. I don't know how to remodel stuff. People have different skill sets. People are good at one thing and not that good at another. To be successful as a remodeling company, there's 6 different skill sets that you've got to have expertise in. Number 1 is sales. Number 2 is sales management, and those 2 things are very different, as you probably know. You've got to be good at the financial side of your business, the operation side of your business, the production side of your business. Okay, so we've got sales management, finance, operations, and production. And then you've got marketing over here, number 6. And the likelihood that you're an expert at all 6 of those is 0 because that person doesn't exist. Most of you who own companies probably came out of the sales and or sales management side of the business. Some of you came out of the production side of the business. And most of you struggle at the operations, financial, and marketing side. And I'm telling you this because I want you to know it's okay, but it doesn't mean that you can't get away with it. You got to fix it, okay? So let's look at what we did with this guy, Don. We came up with this website for him. Persnickety, demanding, hard to please, picky, then I'm the remodeler for you. I am not the fastest. I am not the cheapest. I am, however, according to my customers, the best. In remodeling, it's all about the details, and I'm obsessed with them. Why? Because I'd rather do things right than right now. I'd take time to do things properly, and I refuse to compromise on quality for speed. I'm not the fastest, and I'm not the cheapest contractor around, but according to my customers, I exceed their expectations with the final result. Your investment in remodeling your home is something I take very seriously. It's all about your needs, you and your needs, lifestyle, having minimal disruption during the construction. That's why I prefer to spend ample time with you. I can't read it because it goes off the page. My cell phone number is, this is on his website. You don't even have to know this guy, and you can call his cell phone number. Feel free to interrupt my dinner. Wake me up at 2 a.m. Make me leave home early from my vacation. My only concern is that your job is done 100% right. Are you starting to see what identity means now? Do you get that? Does that make sense? Here's the before. Here's the after. It's the same guy. It's not like he went out and got better. He just communicated it more compellingly. Here's a print ad of the same thing. Are you anxious to get the job done, or are you anxious to get the job done right? Here's another one. I could honestly care if you have a list of 3 remodelers who are cheaper than me. We take a little longer, we cost a little more, but wait until you see the final product. This is called power, precision, passion. If he goes to a home show, we put up a backdrop, persnickety, demanding, hard to please, but I'm the remodeler for you. We are not the fastest. We are not the cheapest. We are, however, according to our customers, the best. Here's a flyer that we use in conjunction with the home show. You'll see that it's consistent. These on the 2 on the right are banners. They're the 80-inch pop-up, 33-inch wide banners that you put at the home show. Ruin my vacation, interrupt my dinner, wake me up at 2 a.m. My only concern is that your job is 100% perfect. Here's my cell phone number. You get an idea how this works? This is called identity, power, precision, passion. What are you good at? What do you do? What can people expect when doing business with you? Build a case and present it with power, precision, and passion. That's what's happening here. Put some gift cards together, mailing campaigns. I shut down the job site in disgust, ripped out the entire floor, and started over again from scratch. That's the front of the postcard. On the back, me and not done exactly right don't get along very well. If I have to choose between profit and perfection, I'll choose perfection every single time. This is an email pre-positioning that goes out when somebody sets an appointment. Subject line, ready for your meeting with Portland's most persnickety remodeler. Most remodelers hate dealing with high-maintenance customers who complain about wanting everything a certain way. Those are the only kind I get along with. Appointment reminder, if you're looking for whatever or just get it done, then you might want to cancel our appointment. Cookie-cutter quality is not why people hire me. But if you're the kind of person that other companies hate doing business with because your demands are so unrelenting, we're going to be a great match. If you're the kind of person who's perfectly willing to send your meal back to the chef 3 times because it's not cooked to your exact specifications, we're going to get along just fine. Actually, you're my dream customer. The reason is simple. I'm actually even more demanding than you are. I totally appreciate your fussiness. Of course you want exactly the right stain color for your cabinets, even if they have to be redone twice. You'll spend 3 hours choosing a pull knob for a drawer because you know you'll spend the next 10 years regretting it if you don't absolutely love it. Do you see what's happening? We're giving people an idea of exactly what they can expect when doing business with a company. You say, well, maybe this scares people off. They say, well, that guy sounds expensive. Well, guess what? He is expensive. He's not going to sell you a cheap kitchen. You can't do that. That's not the way he operates. You say, well, what about a guy that sells cheap kitchens? Well, he's got to have a different identity. This is not this. Here's what you need to know about identity. Every single solitary company has their own identity that's unique to their situation, okay? So identity in the middle, you know, and it injects into all these things. You say, well, that all looks kind of the same. Yeah. Are you saying, Rich, that my face has to be on my marketing? No. Oftentimes we like to put it there, but if you don't want your face on your marketing, I don't care. We can do it without your face on the marketing. It just happens to be a good fit. When there's personality involved, it sometimes helps to show that personality. This is a testimonial from this very customer of ours. I thought I'd let you know what's happening. We signed our biggest remodeling job ever, over $200,000. Not exactly common, with a couple of out-of-state who are moving here this summer. We're convinced. We're 99% certain we got the job because of the new website. The clients loved it and obviously read all of it. We think they called all of the references, blah, blah, blah. Okay, you get the idea. Let's go through round 2. Play What's Your Identity? This is a postcard for a company that sells windows. Can you tell by looking what their identity is? The answer is yes. This is going to be rapid fire. So if you say, oh, geez, I want to see this longer, you have to, I don't know, we'll send you an email with a link. You can watch it again. Strength of warranty. Window companies love to talk about their incredible lifetime warranties. The only thing incredible is that they can legally call them a lifetime. Unique. Ordinary, everyday, tame, tired, mundane, same old kitchens bore us to tears. We specialize in pizzazz. Don't call us if you're looking for the usual. $29,200 to remodel my bathroom? A bathroom doesn't have to cost more than a new car. Okay? Fast. You can get an idea here. I'm going to show you a bunch of websites, though. It's what I really want to get to. Here's some home show stuff. Looking for great windows without all the sales pressure. Then call the window nerd. Instant quotes right now on replacement windows. Right here, right now. The window nerd. This is a guy who hates sales situations. He is literally a nerd. He can't stand to talk to people because he's so nerdy, but he knows everything about windows. He quotes over the phone. You say, did you tell me to quote windows over the phone? No, I did not tell you to quote windows over the phone. I said, that's what this guy does. You compete on the things that make you strong, not on the things that make somebody else strong. This is a closet organizing company. We've installed over 4,300 closets in Memphis since 1994. We always insist on doing every job exactly right. No flimsy hardware, no cheap fiberboard, no cheesy laminates, no prefab kits. You see what's going on here? This is power language. Here's again the definition of identity. Words, images, phrases. Okay, you've seen this? Let's go on. So let's look at this company. We just saw their home show booth. Let's look at their website. We're going to do a bunch of before and afters now. You're going to see a bunch of fat guys and then skinny guys that took the diet pill, okay? And the diet pill is called identity in this case. Incognito custom closets. We have been manufacturing custom closet organizing systems since 1994. Our meticulous attention to detail and unwavering commitment to the highest standards of quality and service are unmatched. Our dedicated team of professionals. Does this sound like, you guys remember watching Peanuts cartoons, Charlie Brown cartoons when you were a kid, like the Christmas special and the Great Pumpkin and Thanksgiving and all that stuff? Remember when Charlie Brown or one of the kids would talk to an adult, whether it was a parent or a teacher? Remember what the adult would sound like? Wah, 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 wah. That's what this sounds like. It's instantly detected by anybody who reads it as absolute crap. It means nothing, and therefore it has no impact. Remember what marketing's #1 job was? To facilitate the decision-making process. It's not doing it. So we redo the website. There's a reason over 4,300 families have trusted Incognito since 1994. We always insist on doing every job exactly right. No flimsy hardware, drawer glides, or hinges, ever. No cheap fiberboard or wood or cheesy laminates. Every project custom measured, constructed, and installed. No fast prefab kits with clumsy fit. You see all the power words? Let's take a look at this. We always insist exactly, 4 in one sentence. No flimsy hardware, ever. No also is a definitive, okay? An absolute. No cheap, cheesy, every job, custom measured. No clumsy. You see how powerful this is? This is called Power Talk. Now, you say, well, does it really make a difference? And the answer, it absolutely does, and here's why. Because people are just begging people. They're begging somebody to tell them what to do. They don't know what to do. That's why they're on the Internet. If they already knew what to do, they would just do it. They wouldn't go screw around looking on the Internet. They would just do it, but they don't know, so they're looking for help. They're looking for advice and solutions. They're looking for information, and they are begging you, please tell me what to do. And all you've got to do is tell them what to do, what to look for, what to watch out for, what to pay attention to when you're doing this, okay? We do it right, not over. Okay, yeah, that's all right. All right, this is Taylor & Young. This is your typical website. It's embarrassing. This is the window nerd, by the way. I sat down and talked to the guy, and he said, man, I love Windows. So here's what we came up with his website. You can find this at windownerd.com. Looking for great windows without all the sales pressure, then call the Window Nerd. Fact, I know as much about Windows as anyone on earth. Fact, sales situations make me really uncomfortable. Result, you get the best Windows without the dog and pony show. I'll give you a quote over the phone. I'll come over to your house if that's what you really want. Either way, you'll get a fair, no gains price. Now, I want you to notice something about this. This is not slogans. This isn't just, hey, you know, slogans. We create slogans for our customers. I just created one the other day. What was it? I think their slogan was, integrity is what you do when other people aren't looking. But it's not the whole, you can't just put the slogan. You've got to be more articulate. You've got to be more, what's the word I'm looking for? Granular. Power, precision, and passion, okay? This is a company, Energy Swing Windows. This guy had been to my seminar about 5 times. He kept coming, he kept coming, he kept coming. Finally looked at him and said, when are you going to do something with all this stuff you're learning at these seminars? He said, well, I don't have time. I can't get around to it. I don't really know how to do it. I like learning it, but I don't know how to implement it. I said, okay, fine. Hire me to do it. Here's what we started with. How do I know I'm getting the best value in replacement windows? In this black area here, it kind of, what do you call it? It rotates through 4 different things. Here's what we replaced it with. Every once in a while, you find that one company that literally does everything right. We sweat every single detail on every single project to ensure a 100% perfect job every single time, start to finish and beyond, no exceptions. Does that sound pretty powerful? Look on the right-hand side towards the bottom. Satisfaction tracker, up since 1992, updated every Friday. Number of window jobs, number of windows built and installed, number of other projects. Customers who say they got more value than they paid for, 2018, 71.2%. Customers who say they got equal value to what they paid. Now, what you can't see, which is off the screen, customers who say they got less value than what they paid for, 0.0%. This is a company that literally does everything right, and this is a powerful way to say it. How we beat the pants off of every other window company in Pittsburgh. And then we've got areas where they can choose, and they can read. If you click on each of those, I mean, go to this company's website. You'll see it. Energy Swing Windows is a live website. And you can click around, and you'll see power, 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 precision, 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 passion, passion, passion. It oozes off this website, off of every page, in a way that makes people say, holy crap, this is good. This is who I want to do business with. Go read the story about the owner of the company, the nerdy basketball player who learned lessons about precision from his basketball days. James T. Markey. Welcome to James T. Markey. Okay. We're the quality choice for window replacements and more. Our business has been family-owned and operated for more than 27 years. We've been in business since 1491 BC. Now, look at this. I'm not going to just tell you that we have superior products at reasonable prices. I'm going to show you exactly how we do it. Now, here's what I want you to imagine, a scenario where you don't know anything about windows, which is not very likely because you're in the window business probably or something similar. But imagine that you are looking for a piano and you found this website, and the guy said, I'm not going to just tell you I have superior pianos at reasonable prices. I'm going to show you exactly how we do it. Would you be interested in at least reading to see what he had to say? The best windows money can buy for $50 to $250 less than anywhere else. The best pianos money can buy for $500 to $2,500 less than anywhere else. Would you be at least willing and interested to read what he has to say? Others cut corners to offer lower prices. We use a combination of high volume sales, no advertising, and really low overhead. Let's face it, everyone's always saying They have the lowest prices, which obviously can't possibly be true. It's even worse in the home improvement industry where somebody can show you a lower price, but in reality they're either showing you a price for an inferior product or showing you a price that doesn't include everything you actually need. In many cases, they just don't have lower prices at all. They just say they do and hope you don't shop around later to find out the claim was false. True or false? Answer, true. So we expose it. Why we win the price wars? No advertising, volume seller, lowest overhead, accountable employees. You get the idea, right? Now, there's a bunch of stuff going on the right-hand side of this that has to do with what I call website conversionability that we're not even going to cover because we don't have time. But don't worry about that right now. Smart Electric. This is a little bit sideways to your industry. This is an electric company, but the guy called me and said, I want to hire you to do this because I don't know how. So I said, fine. Here's his old website. It looks like a website that somebody's nephew put together for a third-grade web programming project. Certified electrician. Now, I like what he said here. I can guarantee my certified electrician will show up on time with a smile on his face, be super clean, and do terrific work, or your house call is free. Smart Electric Service, Northern Virginia. This is so painful to read. Call us to schedule. Nobody's going to read this. Let me repeat. Nobody. Let me tell you who's going to read this. Nobody is going to read this because it just is the usual junk that you expect to see. Okay? I got to talking to this guy. I said, well, why do people do business with you? Why would somebody want to call you? And he said, you know what? People just love doing business with us because we're so friendly. We're so easy to do business with. We treat people right. I said, okay, that sounds pretty good. What else? And in conversation, here's what came out, that 80% of his customers are women, and women feel very comfortable around him and his company because of the way that they treat people. They're very disarming. And if you talk to this guy on the phone, you'll instantly see he's very disarming. He's very unassuming in his tone and his quality, and in person he's the same way. So here's what we came up with. Service with a woman's touch. Meet the pleasant, stress-free electrical contractor. I guarantee my electrician will show up. See, now this quote, it's the same quote that was on the other page, but now it's got context, right? I guarantee my electrician will show up on time with a smile on his face and do terrific work, or your house call is free. Why women love us. On time or it's free. Clean, friendly, respectful text. Upfront, no pressure pricing. Everything is 100% guaranteed. We support women's causes. And see, now this website is interesting. Okay, I'm just reading some comments that are coming in. We'll take some comments and questions at the end of the webinar. We're coming close here. We're just rolling through some examples here. This is a company out of Phoenix that sells windows. This website is about to go live. The new one, this website you're looking at is already live, but we're updating it. It's going to go live here in the next week or so. Freelight. Since 1977, we provided sales, professional installation, service, quality, reasonable price, windows, doors, and skylights. And you got this picture here. People are having coffee. That's good. Price, online price quote. And I looked at this guy. The guy's name is Chip Marvin. I said, Chip, here's the problem with this website. It looks beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. It looks great. You know, this whole light thing, and it's very airy and breezy, and it looks nice. I said, the problem is it doesn't say anything. When people start to read it, they look at it and go, yeah. So we kept the look and the feel, but we added some messaging, okay? Free from sales pressure, free from lengthy pitches, free from hassles, free from regrets. Windows, doors, and skylights without the long, drawn-out sales meetings and confusing choices, free from pressure. Introducing the easy, and by the way, that thing rotates. There's 4 different pictures with headlines that rotate through there. Introducing the easy, no hassle, no pressure way to buy windows and skylights in Phoenix. We find out what you want, make recommendations, and then step back and let you decide. And then it talks about how the industry is more pushy than that. What we include, thorough needs analysis, specific recommendations, short demonstration of products, answer your questions, no hassle quote. What we leave out, long drawn-out presentations, boring technical talk, crazy buy-it-now price discounts, trial closes and hard closes, confusing pricing games. See, now we're communicating something. Let's go back to the definition of identity, who we are, what we're all about, what you can expect when doing business with us, with what? Power, precision, passion, see? Now, remember this one. We're kind of getting towards the finale here. Remember this earlier? This is one of the basement ones. And I said, I talked to this company. I said, we got to get rid of all this SEO language. We don't need to get rid of it, but here's what we do. We just push it down to the bottom of the page. See, if you put in on the bottom of your page that you remodel bathrooms and do attic insulation and basement finishing in Columbus, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and throughout central Ohio, and we push it down to the bottom of the page, guess what Google does? It still finds it. It still sees it. It's freaking Google. It knows everything. It sees that, and it gives you credit. In fact, did you know that if you add that information about the geographic qualifiers of where you do business more than one time on the page, that Google ignores the second, third, and if you do it 5, 8, 10 times on the page, Google starts to penalize you for that? Yeah. So there's no benefit to jamming it all in there. Here's what we came up with. Now, it looks like it's a different size because I'm showing you a longer portion on here, but here's what it looks like. Again, we've got the rotating picture, affordable basement finishing, payments as low as $179 a month, low interest rates with decent credit, no home equity required. Up at the top it says choose your service, and you can see very quickly basement finishing, bathroom modeling, replacement windows or attic insulation, free consultation. That on the left, it actually, in the real version, this was a mock-up, it actually has, what do you call it, a place for people to type in their information. But let's go back. Look at the previous one. They've got their whole navigation here over on the left side of this. Now let's go back to the after, and you see that we've included things that help convert people into sales on the left. Customer reviews, references, online portfolio, instead of just this random navigation, which they can accomplish navigating by the top. We finished over 4,400 basements and baths since 1999, more than anyone else in the country. We're faster, we use better products, our installers are more experienced, and surprisingly, we're actually less expensive. Oh, by the way, we don't play pricing games. We don't use big phony discounts, and everything we sell comes with a lifetime warranty. Then on the right-hand side, you see there, you can afford a new basement or bath. No home equity required, affordable interest rates, payments as low as $179. Notice how we use headlines and stack multiple sub-headlines to make it easy for people to quickly ferret out and distill the prime meaning that you want them to see out of this website. One of the biggest challenges that they have is people just believe in their mind they can't afford a basement. And so we're trying to tell them, no, you can afford it. We've got financing. It still exists. So please look at this and tell. Okay? Then we actually ended up working with their supplier, Owens Corning Basement Finishing, on the national level. This was their previous website. It's got this big, beautiful picture, and of course it rotates, and there's multiple pictures of, playing pool and watching movies and kids' playroom and exercise rooms and all that kind of stuff. But I looked at them and I said, here's the problem with that. People already know that that's what they want when they come to the website. And then if you look at the text down at the bottom, basement remodeling with the Owens Corning basement finishing system, turn wasted space into your family's favorite place. It's kind of got this little rhyme, and if you've ever thought about remodeling your basement, you may have an idea. And I said, this is missing the point. Let's look at the point. What can people expect when doing business with you? Now you can have a beautifully finished, mold-resistant, sound-absorbing basement with a transferable lifetime warranty in about 2 weeks. Introducing a revolutionary way to quickly finish any basement that avoids the usual pitfalls, hassles, and problems and red flags. The Owens Corning basement finishing system beats traditional drywall construction in almost every category that matters, hands down. We've got our offers on the right. We've got photos that shift on the left. And this is how you make a powerful website that actually sells something, okay? This is called identity. What can I expect when doing business with this company? What do you do that's different or better? Can you communicate it in a powerful, precise, passionate way? Can people instantly and definitively tell who you are, what you do, and what you're all about, what they can expect when doing business with you? If they can't, you fail. That's how this works, okay? So let me just end up this webinar by transitioning, and I'm going to take questions. So if you've got questions, start typing them into the question box on the console right now, and I will handle those in just a second. Let me talk about some ways that you can do business with Monopolize Your Marketplace. We offer foundational marketing that you have to have in order to operate. So in my opinion, the things that we're talking about here are as imperative to your business as having trucks and workers. You can't not have them. Starts with forging your identity. Then you choose which packages make the most sense for your business. And we offer websites, pre-positioning, home shows, proximity, new movers, SEO, pay-per-click. These are all things that we offer. But it all starts with identity, okay? We've got modular pricing. It's easy to afford. So let me show you what to do next. Request a free identity consultation and website evaluation, okay? To request your consultation, just go to mymonline.com/consultation, and you can actually choose a time. There's a calendar on there. You just schedule it. We'll call you to confirm it, and then we'll have the appointment with you. Let me give you an idea. This is our website, MYM Online, mymonline.com. So if you look at this, if you look at the right-hand side, there's a navigation button that says Remodelers. Click on that and go to the one that says Bonus Package, okay? So you'll see a drop-down that says Bonus Package. And this gives you an idea of what we sell. This is our most popular package that we sell. In fact, out of our remodeling clients, about 99% of them are on this package. So what we do is we sell an MYM Insider membership and an MYM Live training program in conjunction with each other for $8,985. Now, hold on. Let me tell you how this works, because this is very ingenious, and I think it's going to be a good fit for most of you. Now, the MYM Insider membership is our annual membership program where we do 6 webinars per month. You can submit marketing to us for review. You can have a library of marketing materials that we've written for the industry that are available. There's about 1,000 ads and marketing pieces, including 500 for contractors. So we sell that for $4,990 per year. We also have a live training program that we sell for $7,990. It's 4 days. It's in Dallas. It's intense. It's for people that are serious about making stuff happen. But we sell those two things together for $8,985. When you do that, we throw in 3 free bonuses. First, we extend the membership from 12 months to 15 months. We also send you 2 different CD sets. One is our 10 CD set. It's our flagship audio program. Plus, we have a remodeling contractor marketing boot camp. It's also a 10 CDs, but it's very specific to remodeling contractors. Now, here's what you need to know. For about 5 years, we sold this program as you see it on the screen, actually without the free bonuses, for $8,985. And we had a membership that fluctuated anywhere from about 50 to 100 members. And the problem with it was that a lot of people, number one, weren't interested in the training necessarily, or it wasn't really their thing. But number two, they would look at us and say, you know what, we like the training, but we need you to just do this for us. So here's what we do now. It's a little bit different. Now, when you buy that package from us for $8,985, we actually give you $5,000 of what we call monopoly money that you can use on this list. Now, this list is available on mymonline.com/bonus package, and you'll see there's a list of things that have certain prices, and you can use your $5,000 of monopoly money to buy these things. Number one, identity package, okay? That's non-negotiable. You have to do it. In that identity package, if you mouse over identity package on our website, it'll have a little pop-up that shows you exactly what's involved and what's included, what you get in that package. We also have pre-positioning packages. We have a website, what we call content and build, or a website content only. Let me tell you this. Out of all of our customers, we've got about 100 that we've put on this program. We've got about 100, and we've only been doing this now for about a little bit over a year. We put about 100 contractors on this package, including all the ones that you just saw the examples of, and about 95 others. All of them, we have done a website, at least a content, where we overhaul the content for power, precision, and passion, inject the identity, and in about 80% of those, we've actually built their website for them so that it's just completely turnkey, okay? There's also proximity marketing. There's a home show package that we sell, new movers, SEO, SEO maintenance, pay-per-click, radio package. You can read about all of that stuff on this page, mymonline.com/bonus package, okay? So read about that, and we'll give you $5,000 of monopoly money that you can spend if you become an MYM Insider member at our combination price of $8,985, okay? Now, here's what I talked about. $5,000 of monopoly money, but here's what we also do. We have a special bonus for people that attend this webinar where we'll give you actually an additional $2,000 of monopoly money. So when you buy our package for $8,985, and it's only $2,000 down, and then it's monthly payments of anywhere from $400 to $500 a month, depending on how long you stay on with us, we'll give you $7,000 so that you can buy those fulfillment packages. And it's just basically you do business with us, you become an insider member, and then we will do these things for you. We'll assign a senior project manager and copywriter that will work with you every step of the way, and we normally knock out all of the things in a period of about 4 to 5 months, depending on how quickly we get feedback from you, okay? This is an example of some of the mailing packages that we put together. I think this is a proximity mailing package with job site signs and mailers and handouts and take ones and flyers and postcards. So just to give you an idea, we put all this stuff together for you. It all looks very consistent. The identity goes throughout everything. So if you scroll to the bottom of this page on mymonline.com/bonus package, here's what you'll see. There's 2 different plans. One's a 1-year plan. One's a 2-year plan. On the 2-year plan, we extend it for 6 months, so it's actually 30 months. On the Insider program, we give you an additional $1,500 of monopoly money. We give you an iPad mini if you sign up on that program. about 85 or 90% of our customers are actually on the 2-year plan. It actually lowers your monthly payment to $399 from $499, and it gives you more value in terms of the bonus packages. So here's what you need to do. You can go online and you can actually click to buy those. If you feel like you've got enough information to do that, you just simply fill out your information and boom, you're done. Or you can click at the bottom there. You see it says, I'm not quite sure, I'd like to schedule a time to speak to you first. If you click on that, it'll bring up a page that has a calendar that'll look like this, where you can come in here, and today is March 13th. You can click on that. There's 3 available slots. Tomorrow there's 2. On Friday there's 5. And you can talk to Brian Bauman, who is our Vice President of Sales, and he'll talk to you about this program, give you all the information, all the details you can possibly stand. You can ask him questions till you're blue in the face, and he'll help you understand them, okay? So now let's give away the free book. I'm going to go over here to the attendees, and I'm going to squint my eyes, and I'm going to be random, and I'm going to pick this person right here, which is Chris Tierney-Hurst. Chris Tierney-Hurst, you are the winner of the MYM book. So if you will do me a favor and type your information into the question box, your address and so forth, we'll get that over to you. If you don't, we'll contact you. Okay, yay, I see you're on there. So just give us that information, and we'll get that book sent out to you. It'll go out today via UPS. So that being said, let me put this back on the screen, and I will now take questions. I see several have come in. Let's see. I have a presence on Monta, Hot Frog, AL, and SEO. It seems to do nothing. The problem with SEO is if you're good at SEO but your website is poor at converting, guess what? You are going to, it's not going to help. Now, if your SEO isn't working in terms of getting you up in the rankings, then I can't speak to that without knowing more about it. But this is definitely something that we do for our clients. We've got over half of our clients are on SEO programs with us, where we don't just create the website, but we actually get you to show up in the rankings, and that's a service that we can help you with if you want. Will the webinar be available for review for those who came in late? Absolutely. We will. We are recording this, like I mentioned earlier, and we will send a link to all of the participants on this webinar. So here's what you need to do next. The best thing to do next is to schedule a discussion with Brian Bauman. If you'll click schedule an appointment on our website, that will give you a chance to set that appointment. And if nothing else, have a discussion with him about your identity. Talk to him about it. He'll review your website. He'll give you some ideas and some pointers, and it'll be a valuable process for you. So I don't have any more questions. It's a fairly small webinar today, so thanks for being with us and participating sort of on short notice. Is there any other questions? I'll give you just a second, and if not, I think we'll be done. Okay, I guess we'll be done then. So if you will please set that appointment, we'll talk to you about that and help you. Oh, Chris says wait. I'll wait. Thoughts on mobile apps? Are you talking about a mobile website, or are you talking about like an actual app from the App Store? For a mobile website, it's absolutely critical that you have a mobile app. Think about it for a second. If the Kevin Bacon syndrome suggests that people are going to look on their iPad and or their phone for information, then you'd better have a good mobile website. And this is another service that we offer. In fact, it's not on our price list right now because we've just recently added it, and it'll be going on our official price list. But we do create mobile websites, and you can actually use your Monopoly money as a part of our package to purchase a mobile website in conjunction with your regular website. So absolutely, if you don't have one, that's not good. It's bad, okay? Anything else? Okay. We'll go ahead and end up here, and we look forward to talking to you later and helping you out with your marketing. If there's anything we can do, certainly just reach out to us and ask. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you later. Bye now.